We're officially 2 months into 2025. We've had some good pay-per-views. We've had some amazing fight nights. So we're going to be recounting our 10 favorite fights so far in 2025.
You know what? I was like, oh, it's only been 2 months, but I'm like, oh wait, it's been 2025. We have pay-per-views and fight nights every
single
weekend. We are cramped up on the couch for 7 hours every single Saturday. No social life.
Exactly.
Thanks, Dana.
But there were some good fights, and then towards the end, it was getting kind of rough.
It was a little sus, but
do you want to start us off with your number?
Yeah.
10?
All right, my number 10 is from UFC Seattle last week.
Oh.
Mansour Abdul Malik versus Nick Klein. All right, so this fight, let me give a little reasoning. So Mansour, he got the knockout over Nick Klein, all right? Or the TKO, we'll say. But it did not look too bad for Nick Klein, you know, because Mansour was like a minus 1,200 favorite or something. Like, so he was like super favorite. And then Nick Klein was actually putting up a pretty good shout. Like, I was rooting for Nick Klein, you know. I think he had a mustache and a mullet, so it means
dude, every day this guy gets a DM saying you look like this UFC fighter with a mustache. Like any fighter with a mustache,
they're like, oh, it looks like this guy. But so like I was rooting for Nick Klein. I was like, you know, oh, he might pull it off, and then all of a sudden, Nick Klein just died, and he turned in, and Mansour turned to like prime Francis Ngannou, just boo, 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 dead.
No, I've been saying for like not months, like probably months. Ever since I saw Nick Klein on the Contender Series, any hillbilly, I'm like, oh, I think that's the dude that came over to Dana White and said he loves John Jones. But Nick Klein is actually the guy who said that. So this was his first fight off the Contender Series, and he hit a spinning back fist, almost KO'd the other guy. Yeah. So we were freaking out.
There were some exciting moments, and like obviously for Nick Klein, it's not your ideal circumstances because he took this fight on short notice.
Yeah, I think
he
so.
was at catch weight.
Yeah.
But
it is what it is.
It was exciting, and maybe there's some recency bias, and it's also the end of the list, so everything is like interchangeable.
All right, my number 10, easy lock. I got Colby Thickness versus Alexandra Topuria.
Ooh.
Good fight, just a very solid fight, 3 rounds. You had the big knockdown from Topuria in the beginning round, in the first round, and then the second round, I think you had that suplex. So there's just like lower down the list, it was like, what moments do you remember from decent fights? And this was, for an unranked bantamweight fight, this was a very high skill level fight. They were both extremely talented, and I think they're both going to be fighting in the UFC again. And the name value between both of them, you know, you have a Topuria brother versus the main training partner of Volk. It was just a great storyline, and the fight pretty much lived up to the hype. There wasn't a KO or anything, but just a really solid fight on UFC 312.
I'm surprised you have that fight so low. I'm pretty high on that fight.
I did my research. There's lots of other fights.
Okay. We'll be hearing more about that fight later. All right, moving on to number 9 for me, Jimmy Crute versus Bellato at UFC 312.
What is this?
It was a draw.
Yeah.
Which means that the level of competition had to be extremely close. All right. Hear my reasoning out. It's also Jimmy Crute. I'm rooting for my mustache mullet boys. You know, I personally think he got robbed. I think that he deserved to get the win there.
I think so.
But I mean, it was tough because it was very much Jimmy Crute. The first 7.5 minutes was Crute, and then Bellato was like the second 7.5 minutes. You know, so it was back and I mean, it wasn't necessarily back and forth, but it was very even throughout the whole fight.
That's fair.
I don't have like these memories of these fight night these pay-per-view early prelims. You know, I don't have them memorized.
That's fair. I went through there hasn't been that many, so I went through all the fight nights and pay-per-views and looked through all the fights. Next up at my number 9, I got DDP versus Strickland. It was just a fine fight, you know, like it was 5-round title fight, which I think helps it, you know, just a more time to enjoy the fight, but it's also very high level. So I think naturally you're going to put pay-per-view level cards higher a little bit, or pay-per-view level fights. You know, DDP had a good game plan, and I was rooting for him, so that makes it a little bit better for me. Strickland didn't really put up much offense, so, you know, it wasn't this crazy war like Strickland always promises, but he did get his nose broke, which was kind of exciting, and, you know, DDP just looked like the best version of himself, which is always good to see the highest level fighter evolve, so... Yeah,
I have that in a few spots, so I'll talk about it a little bit more later. Moving on, my number 8... You might not like this pick. From UFC Seattle, it only lasted a few minutes. Gene Silva versus Bag Harrison. That's not how you say it. But the few minutes of this fight that we got were awesome. Mm-hmm. You know, we had Gene Silva, like, you know, this power puncher, like super well-rounded, like top prospect, versus this crazy kickboxer kickboxer. And like, you know, like I think the only thing that ruined this fight was Michael Bisping in the back. Stop dapping him up. I don't like that. I don't like it that much. But like, come on, bro. Like, shut your mouth. And then when he said stop dapping up and then like boom, knocked him out after he dapped him up, that was fire. That was and good. Like what we saw from this fight was so entertaining. You know, like it might have been the best, I think it was like 3.5 minutes, 4 minutes of like UFC that we've seen this year, potentially. Like was super fun, super exciting. If this fight had gone longer, it would have been way higher up on this list. And then like the knockout where it's like he was out cold and the ref wouldn't stop it. And he's like, sorry, bro. Boom, boom. And then but yeah, I thought that was like, it was a memorable moment. You know, that fight was very memorable to me. So I'm going to put it there. That's
fair. I think that's a good pick. And yeah, it didn't last too long, but while it did, it was good. All right. My number 8, Chris Curtis versus Roman Kopylov. Good fight night. I think I picked Kopylov to win, but it was a close fight the whole way through, and then Kopylov kind of took over, got that head kick KO. So it was just like a good fight all the way through. Plus, you got the head kick KO, like I think at the very last 10 seconds of that fight, if I'm not mistaken. So Chris Curtis was obviously upset. For some reason, in a Chris Curtis fight, you know there's always going to be one thing that he will endlessly complain about for the rest of his life.
He just has that like resting, whiny face. Yeah. Like, he just always looks like he's whining and complaining.
Yeah. But it was a great fight. Now Roman Kopylov is probably one win away from the rankings, and he's decently exciting. So yeah, it was just
I think
decent.
He's 14 now, actually. I think he's in the rankings.
Did he get ranked?
Yeah, he's 14 now. Yeah. This is a fight that I didn't have on my list because when I'm making like my favorite fights of the year, this was a fight, I think I worked that night or something, so like I didn't get to watch this fight. So it's tough because like I only have one fight that I rewatched just because I thought it was like my favorite of the fights that I rewatched. But this was still a fight I considered because it was still entertaining. It just, you don't have that same experience when you're watching it back already knowing the outcome of it.
It's true.
So, all right, moving on. My next fight, number 7, a fight you already mentioned, Dricus du Plessis versus Sean Strickland. It's tough because it's a championship fight that was, I wouldn't say super competitive. You know, Dricus won decisively, you know, but like it still had its good moments in it. You know, we had the breaking of the nose of Sean Strickland and him trying to fight through it and like, is he going to go? Is he going to go? And then the end of the fight, that 5th round, Strickland was kind of like, oh, I'm actually going to go now with a minute left.
Like he always does.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to clear the gas tank out. So and it's dumb. Like, all right, bro. Like,
he's not even breathing heavy.
Yeah, like it was very high level. It just wasn't the most exciting fight that you're ever going to see, which is what, you know, it wasn't as good as the last fight. The last fight was very back and forth, more of that war that Strickland talks about, but this fight was still good.
Yeah.
You know, like it's a fight that would I go and rewatch it? Probably, maybe not.
Yeah, probably not.
Probably not.
But it was decent.
But for the 2 months that we've had, it was a fine enough main event.
Yeah, I agree with that. My number 7 is Weili Zhang versus Tatiana Suarez. Arguably, I could see this put higher just because Tatiana Suarez and Zhang Weili, two of the highest level women's fighters that you could ask for, and Zhang Weili put an absolute clinic on her. The wrestling was absolutely insane. The elbows in the clinch were beautiful. The striking at range, like Zhang Weili is such a complete fighter now. She's honestly, I think it's time to start considering her as one of the best women's fighters we've seen, especially at the strawweight division.
She's probably top 5.
Yeah. I don't think how is she not ranked pound for pound number 1? Yeah. Like, it's just ridiculous at this point.
Yeah, with Shevchenko with no active defense.
Yeah, no recent defense.
The pound for pound list, I was thinking about it the other day. Like, I don't completely understand it because it's not actively who's the 15 best. It's like, 15 people with the best resume almost, you know?
Yeah.
So it's confusing. And then sometimes they're like, oh yeah, actually this person goes higher, but it's like, but this guy beat this one and they're not. It's interesting. It doesn't completely make sense.
No, that's why we need AI, Dana. Not really.
Shake that thing up.
I just think it was a great fight. You know, UFC 312, I would argue that this was better than the main event.
Yeah, 100%.
In terms of excitement. No KO, but it's a strawweight women's fight. Like, I wasn't really expecting that.
And I think for me, I'm going to talk about it more later, but like when you have one of your like personal favorite fighters fighting too, it adds to the fight. You know, you're going to
yeah.
put your bias into it. You're going to like that fight more. Too.
And also, like, the expectations of it was that it might be kind of boring because Tatiana Suarez is such wrestle heavy, and then it was mostly stand up because she couldn't take her down. Like that, you know, expectations here, performs here.
Yeah.
It's better.
Exactly. All right, my next fight on the list, the only fight that I didn't get to watch live. I wish I got to watch it live because it was a battle of me and Lucas's top bantamweight prospects. My guy Vinicius Oliveira versus his guy Saeed Nurmagomedov. Where my guy took the dub.
I cut him.
He cut him from the roster.
Yeah, he's cut, bro.
But I mean, it's Vinicius Oliveira. Like, you're not going to get a boring fight with this guy. You know, this fight was awesome. You know, I wish this was honestly the fight from that Saudi fight night that I was looking forward to the most, and I wish I got to watch it live because I'm just. Every time Vinicius Oliveira.
And then you came right when your parlay was being ruined by Adesanya getting KO'd.
Yeah, like I cooked up a nasty parlay. It was like plus 1,200, and Adesanya was the last leg.
And he failed.
He cooked it. But I just want to watch Vinicius Oliveira fight live because the last time he fought at the Sphere, I think that was the last time he fought.
Vinicius Oliveira?
Yeah.
I don't even know. No, it wasn't the Sphere, but yeah, it was some random card.
Yeah. I haven't watched him live. I just watch his recaps where he absolutely cooks people. Yeah. Oh, no, he fought. No, he was not the Sphere. I was getting confused.
Yeah.
But nasty. He's nasty. He's the top bantamweight prospect right now.
It's kind of crazy. Came out of nowhere. You know? These are the guys that make it somewhere.
Exactly. Like, so. I don't know if he's a champ potential, but like.
He's just good.
He's good. You know, he'll be in there. Like, a year from now, could this guy beat Cheeto Vera? Hey, you never know.
I think if I trained for a year, I could fluke a win over
But
Cheeto.
yeah, I'm assuming you're probably gonna have this fight on your list somewhere. But like, it was an entertaining, exciting fight. Like for a main card fight night.
Yeah,
you can't expect more than what you got from this fight.
Yeah, I think was it even main card?
It was. I think it was the third fight. Oh no, it was the fourth fight.
Yeah, it was.
Sorry, second fight on the card.
Yeah, it was pretty low.
There was Pav, MVP, and then main.
Yeah. All right. My next fight, I got Mike Davis versus Fares Ziam.
Okay.
Such a great fight. You know, people forget, man. Mike Davis, he's a killer, man. But he got kind of outclassed by Fares Ziam, and Fares Ziam, he's improved so much, and it's kind of cool to see these prospects who like go from nobodies and like, oh, they're just mid to now like, oh, they're getting somewhere.
He's him.
They're improving a lot, and I think one more win and he's probably in the rankings. I mean, give him Benoit Saint-Denis, Battle of the French People. The calf slicer that he was able to get out of was absolutely gnarly. Like, yeah, I think that's, we talk about moments, like that was something that sticks in my head. It was just kind of carried by like the whole night itself, and that just added to it. And it was a good high level fight between two very good prospects in the lightweight division. So I just have good memories of it.
Yeah. Once again, another example of these matchmakers making good quality fights.
Exactly.
They're making these good quality fights, and it's like they pay off.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. My next fight from UFC 312, Alex Topuria versus Colby Thickness. When I think about like moments from this year, that Topuria suplex might have been the best moment of the year.
It was hype, yeah.
So hype. I'm just like sitting there like waiting to come over, watching it. And it's like, oh, he just suplexed him. I'm like, what? Like, this is like WWE. Like, this don't actually happen in real UFC, right? Like, what did Brock Lesnar just show up inside of a bantamweight's body? Like, I was like, what's going on?
Brock Lesnar was inside a bantamweight body? That's crazy.
But no, like, I mean, it obviously would have been even more hype if Topuria could have gotten the KO over Thickness. But, like, you had two, like, prospects. Like, people forget that Thickness was 7-0 coming into this.
Can you just call him Colby? Just call him Colby, man.
No,
I can't. Thickness is so weird.
Thickness was 7-0 coming into this fight. Topuria was like 6-2 or whatever.
6-1, yeah.
Yeah. And like two prospects fighting, and it was what we wanted. You know, it was like you couldn't have asked for more realistically. Like, and if you're asking for more, you're greedy. All right. And greed's not okay. But like, yeah, it was a super fun fight. It was like Topuria was like, okay, like he's
legit.
He's showing us things from all assets of his game.
Yeah, that's true. Was that number 5?
That was my number 5.
All right, my number 5 is.
You have this thing memorized?
Jared Cannonier versus Rodriguez, RoboCop.
Another fight I didn't put on here.
Really?
I watched it, but I didn't watch it live.
It was a good fight. I think it was a fourth round TKO from Cannonier. I actually watched this one with my dad. He's like, he never watches them, but he was just in the chair and we were watching together. And like, dude, RoboCop is huge. I think if he moved up to light heavyweight, he'd have success, but we can talk about that in a different video. But overall, like RoboCop starts super strong all the time. And I'm like, oh, dude. I feel so bad for Cannonier for taking on another super dangerous prospect who's going to get a KO over him. But I said to my dad, the hardcore knowledge, I was like, if this makes it out of the second round, it's going to be Cannonier's fight. And I was right. Cannonier took over from kind of the end of the second round, almost got a KO. I think it was with a knee or an elbow in the clinch in that third round and dropped him really hard. And in the fourth round, you just knew Rodriguez didn't have it in him anymore. So it was a great fight night main event. Cannonier puts on another classic Hall of Fame Apex card.
King of the Apex cards.
King of the Apex.
Yeah.
Put it in the Louvre.
All right, moving on to my number 4. This is where I have Rob Font versus Matsumoto from UFC Seattle. This fight was a banger.
Yeah.
Like, I think when you have Rob Font, who, is very underrated inside of that bantamweight division, people don't really talk about him. He just goes out there and he does his thing. And then Matsumoto, who you could tell this dude was pissing himself, so nervous coming into your 16-0, and he's going up his first fight inside of the UFC.
I think it was like his second or third.
No, because I thought he only fought on the Contender Series.
I think he had like low level fights.
Okay, but like his first legit fight,
yeah,
it's like boom, you're getting pushed right up to Rob Font.
And arguably, if Rob Font didn't be a cheating bastard in the first round, that I hate that glove touch right into the 1-2. Like
it wasn't 1-2, it was like 5 or 6. It was boom.
Yeah.
What the heck just happened?
Exactly. Gene Matsumoto almost got sent to the Shadow Realm instantly.
Yeah. That's the new cheat for how to get the record knockout. Just because that's what I do in UFC 5. It's go for the glove touch, head kick.
I hope that's what Pereira does against Ankalaev. Fake glove touch.
There's no glove touch happening there.
You don't think so?
Pereira don't do that.
No, yeah, you're right. He'll come out with a flying teep kick. Sean Strickland.
Yeah, but like this fight in terms of striking was so much fun. And we had that end of the fight where they were like basically standing banging, at the end. You couldn't have asked for, like, I know I'm kind of regurgitating the same words.
Yeah. You couldn't have asked for more.
But like, you could, like, coming in Rob Font versus short notice Matsumoto.
Yeah.
Like, I had super low expectations. I was like, this fight's going to suck. It's on the main card because, Dominic Cruz dropped out, retired. Exceeded all of my expectations, was probably the fight of the night. I don't know how it didn't get fight of the night. How did Menifield get that?
Yeah.
That was such a robbery because this fight was so much fun and like it had different levels to it too. And like, it was like Font obviously won that first round and it's like, okay, Matsumoto, he might actually do this. He might beat Rob Font. He's going to be ranked. And then it's like, oh no, he didn't.
I think he still will be ranked in the future.
Oh, I think
he has a good future.
He's got a good future ahead of him.
All right. My number 4 fight, something you mentioned. Alonzo Menifield versus Julius. No, I'm kidding, bro. Chill.
Stop.
Battle of the cardio monsters. No, I got Vinicius Oliveira versus Saidner Magomedov. Just what a great fight.
Couldn't have asked for more.
Couldn't have asked for more in this fight. I was, as much as I picked Saidner Magomedov as my bantamweight roster pick, I still am happy when a Dagestani loses. All right. Dare I say it? I'm happy when someone from, he's not even from Camp Khabib, but someone with that aura, you got to knock them down a peg. They're just not that good. They're not all that. If you know the game plan, you can beat them. All right.
There's too many. The market's saturated.
Exactly.
The market is so saturated with last names ending in the V.
Exactly. And that's why I picked him for my roster pick. I was like, dude, this is free. But then, Saidner Magomedov just went out there and showed he has a ton of heart. He has good takedown defense. Obviously, he has great striking and he can mix it up well. The cardio is something that I think both of them can work on. Mm-hmm. But apparently, Vinicius Oliveira had a rib injury.
And the paint fumes.
Paint gate. You never know.
I just thought about it. This was Nurmagomedov versus Oliveira too. Good.
Nurmagomedov versus Oliveira too?
Yeah.
When did...
oh, wait, they never fought. Yeah, Islam fought him.
Makhachev.
This is a dream fight. We saw a dream fight on a random fight night main card.
Exactly. UFC's got to start putting up posters with just the last names.
Yeah. Oliveira versus Nurmagomedov. Khabib's coming out of retirement.
Funny joke.
All right, my number 3, bronze medal, my queen, Zhang Wei Li versus Tatiana Suarez. You know, championship fights, they obviously get valued more. You know, as much as like other fights could have been maybe higher level, you put the extra emphasis on the championship fights, on those 5-round fights. And I mean, getting to watch my queen, Zhang Wei Li, beat up Tatiana Suarez when everyone's like, Suarez is beating her. Everyone was on Suarez.
Favorite? She was the favorite?
Yeah, getting to watch my queen beat her up for 25 minutes was awesome. And like the skill that we saw from Zhang Wei Li, like I am probably her biggest glazer. Like I am she's unreal. Like you watch her. She just showed even more levels. You know, like her defense, unreal. I actually don't know who stops her.
Takedown defense is crazy.
Yeah, like I think that she could almost beat Kayla Harrison.
It's a bold take.
Kayla Harrison can't strike. What's she gonna do?
It's true.
What's she gonna do?
She's just fat, bro.
She's woman Khabib.
She's just big.
Yeah,
big
she's
and
huge.
strong.
But Zhang Wei Li is strong.
Yeah, that's true.
The power in that girl.
She can pick up Ngannou. All right, I'm gonna stop you.
So powerful.
I'm gonna stop you before you get too far. My was it bronze medal?
Yeah.
My number 3 pick is what's the kid's name? Cody Steele versus Rong Zhu. What a great fight! This when I was watching this, I had my laptop on the kitchen counter when I was making dinner, and I was like, hold on, I'm witnessing like the best fight this year. Like, what is happening? This is insane. Probably the best first round in UFC this year. Just absolute war back and forth. I didn't have any expectations, which is always what makes the best fight. It's like the Daniel Zellhuber Esteban Ribovic fight. That's what this reminded me of. Both dudes just standing in the pocket and trading shots, which, you know, hardcore fans might say, oh, there's no skill in that. But sometimes you just want to watch MMA. That's what you love to see.
You just want to see two dudes beat each other up.
Exactly.
Is your Instagram Reels taken over by fighting videos? Because that's like something that's apparently going around right now, where Instagram Reels just all like people beating each other up.
Well, look, I won't talk about my Reels feed too much because
Brawl Stars?
It's
listening.
I'll get canceled. Don't say those words, bro. It's gonna come back.
How Primo gonna be on there?
This dude sent me one Brawl Stars meme. Neither of us play. This dude sent me one Brawl Stars meme. I don't know how it got on your For You page. My For You page for 3 weeks straight was just Brawl Stars, and I never liked a single one of them. And I'm like, bro, I don't need to know about freaking Crow's Supercharged. Like, what is this? Australia, maybe? Yeah, it was Australia because Cody Steele's Australian.
All right, moving on. My number 2, Yuri Prohaska versus Jamal Hill.
It's a classic.
Do you have this fight? Because there's only 2 left. And I already know what your number 1 is.
Well, Menafield versus Walker's too. So.
Oh yeah, but I mean, this fight was awesome. You know, getting to see Yuri beat up Jamal Hill was awesome. You know, definitely like it might have even been the lowest level fight on this whole list. You know, the skill involved in this fight, it might have been the lowest level.
Well, it's my second fight as well.
But it's also the light heavyweight division. You know, when we're talking about the light heavyweight division,
there's not much skill to go around.
No.
Yeah.
And like, it's like what you said, like sometimes you want to watch those super, like the fight we're going to talk about at number 1, but sometimes you also just want to watch 2 big dudes beating each other up.
Yeah, it's a great matchup. This was the matchup that we've been waiting for so long, when both of them were calling each other out. And I think it lived up to the expectations. And even the question of Yuri Prohaska's chin coming back, the whole storyline of you got caught, I got dominated. Like, there was a lot of good things leading up into that fight. And the fact that it was only the featured fight on that pay-per-view is pretty insane. Would have loved to see it go 5 rounds, but Yuri got the KO anyways.
We didn't need 5. We ain't need 5.
It was close though. Yuri left it a little bit late. The head movement from Yuri looked great. All the edits, like I think, you know, the real judgment of how good a fight was is how many Instagram reels you see of it the day after. And you saw so many reels of Yuri entering flow state samurai mode.
Our guy Yuri.
My guy Yuri. Don't claim.
He's not my guy.
Don't claim him.
He's not mine.
Yeah, shut up.
But that means moving on to number 1. I'm gonna speak for both of us because, I mean, you've already told me what your fight of the year was. So if you don't have it as number 1, I'm gonna be a little bit confused.
When did I tell you that?
When we were filming a video the other day, you mentioned it. Umar Nurmagomedov versus Merab Dvalishvili at UFC 311 in the co-main event for the bantamweight belt.
Definitely the highest level skill fight we've seen this year
in a long time.
Yeah,
like I'm still like, this might have been the highest skill fight I've like witnessed live.
Yeah,
it was so good.
Merab's cardio versus Umar's well-roundedness, and the Camp Khabib. You know, can they win both fights? Obviously they can't. Umar undefeated, Merab on a crazy win streak. So it had all the storylines. It had a good build-up. Like, it actually had some beef behind it. It felt like Umar, brother, how this guy gonna beat me? Like,
well, and I think we even had the in-fight storylines where it's like those first 2 rounds were like, okay, Umar is just that good. He's absolutely destroying Merab, and then it's like, I'm Merab, you know, like just toying with him, you know, and like.
You've been Merabed.
Yeah.
That's what happened in this fight. But yeah, watching it live was so crazy. Like, we're screaming and
we're like, Umar's gonna do it. He's gonna knock him out. He's gonna knock him out. And then it's like
Merab starts aura farming. Like, it's crazy.
He is such an aura farmer. Yeah. It's bad.
It's so bad.
But it's also awesome. Like it's like he's such an aura farmer that it gives him aura.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, that's how it works.
No.
You aura farm to get aura.
No, because like I know aura farmers that have no aura.
Well, yeah, but they're bad at it then.
Yeah, like Merab is like he doesn't get the aura. Like I don't even know how to explain.
He's an S tier aura farmer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out solo leveling.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. That's gonna. That's gonna wrap it up for us today. Go down to those comments. Let us know what's your guys' fight of the year. If it's not Umar versus Merab, you're wrong. But while you guys are down there, make sure you guys are liking and subscribing, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.
See ya.